First is first. All right. I want you to breathe in, breathe out, and woosah. Okay.
That didn't help.
And there, yo.
I'm playing.
All right, here we go. So in all likelihood, Deshaun Jackson's going to at least get a return. Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding? Way downtown. Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Welcome to the Shred the Spread podcast, your home for all of your NFL sports betting needs. I'm your host, Jared, and helping me break down week 2 of the NFL season is my right-hand man, my partner in crime, Dynell. What's going on, man?
What's going on, my guy? This week is going to be gritty. It's going to be dirty, and we're going to have to grind these spreads out, man.
Dude.
These first look at these, it's easy crazy. These lines are crazy.
Yeah, I hope you guys have your shovel because we're going to have to dig. We're going to have to do some digging. We got a lot of games to get into, so we're going to go through this pretty quickly. We're going to give our very early leans. As you guys know, we do our contest picks that we usually release Friday night, Saturday morning. So if you're here to preview the slate with us, then we'll do that today. Be on the lookout for our Thursday night episode. If you guys did not catch that, we did give out our favorite side and a few player props that were intriguing. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Leading us off for the contest. Now, guys, just brief disclosure. These are all of our contest lines. So these lines may differ from the book play. Let's just say an example. We like the Titans plus 3.5 and the line goes to 3 or 4 or whatever it may be. Whatever the line favors, obviously we would play that on the book too. But these are all of our contest lines that me and Dynell have to pick 5 picks a week against the spread in our contest. So if the line differs from what you guys have on your book, that may be the case. But leading us off, we have the Chicago Bears traveling to Tampa Bay to face the fighting Baker Mayfields. Baker Mayfield coming off a win versus the Vikings. The Bears struggled against Jordan Love. Talk to me. What do you have in this game, if anything?
Yeah, if anything, is definitely the answer. Because right now, I'm really definitely struggling with this game. A strong performance from that Buccaneers defense. A very, very strong, encouraging performance from the Buccaneers defense. Last week, they held Kirk Cousins and the Vikings to 17 points. Baker Mayfield did his job. He did exactly what they asked him to kind of do. He only had 178 yards, but hey, it tied up into a win. What kind of stuck out was, not really stuck out because this stuck out since the beginning of the goddamn season. The Bears defense stinks.
Yeah, that's secondary sorry as shit.
Yeah, right. And I'm trying to figure out, is this Buccaneers defense, are they 2.5 points better than the Bears? I mean, as far as offensive production. So it's tough. It's going to be, it's tough. Like I said, I wouldn't touch it, but that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, should the Buccaneers win? Absolutely. They're at home. They have the better defense. Justin Fields was struggling versus that Packers defense, and the Packers defense made Jordan Love look incredible. So for a book play, I think I lean the under. 40.5 seems a little bit high. I think these teams are both going to struggle to score the ball. I think the Buccaneers get an early lead and just rely on the run, and that might slow the game down. But as of right now, this most likely won't be a contest pick with us, so we're not going to spend any more time on it. So moving on to the next game, we have the Packers minus 1.5 versus the Falcons. Falcons coming off of a pretty solidifying win versus the Panthers. Granted, I don't think Bryce Young looked all that good. I think that Panthers team was struggling a little bit to move the ball. But the Packers, on the other hand, very convincing win over the Bears. Now, granted, the Bears defense is, as we just stated, isn't the best. This one, I'm getting a little difficult read on it. Like this Atlanta Falcons team, they don't care about stats. They care about wins. That's what Arthur Smith says. He doesn't care who gets the ball, when, how much they get the ball. He just wants to win. And that's what their identity is. Their identity is putting their nose down and running the ball. Desmond Ridder, everybody's pretty much realized this now. He's not an NFL quarterback. He is not going to win you the game. He is just there to manage the game. He's like a poor man's Jimmy Garoppolo. This one's difficult because my instinct is telling me take the home dog, the Falcons plus 1.5. But after seeing what the Packers just did to the Bears last week, it's really making me hesitate on that. Did you like the Packers? Like, is their last week's performance in persuading you to like give them another shot this week, or is this more of like a stay away?
Honestly, it does. I'm honestly, I say that because looking at these other lines throughout the games, that's just come, from me doing my early reads and looking at it. Like I said, it's gritty, it's tough. I actually would like, minus 1.5, and I believe they're in what, Atlanta? Are they in Atlanta?
Yeah, they're in Atlanta.
I mean, yes. I mean, they're in Atlanta. They're at home. I mean, Bijan Robinson had a nice little week, nice couple moves, this and that. But once again, like I said, from the way beginning in the offseason, I mean, I don't get why Kyle Pitts and Drake London aren't even there. I mean, I guess they're there to kind of be, when the matchups come out and you need to make that big play, they're kind of there, but they don't really amount to anything. Their offense is really, it's like solely predicated on the run. It's ridiculous. Like it's if they don't run the ball, then they're probably putting up six to 10 points.
Yeah.
The Packers have shown me they can definitely stymie the run. Granted, I get it, the Bears, it's Khalil Herbert and his running game, but they did really, really well to contain the run. I mean, the defense played outstanding on their part. They definitely put Jordan Love in a position to be great and win, and he did absolutely that, delivering 3 touchdown passes. I feel like this defense can really, let's think of field position wise, I feel like if they can really stymie this run, which I believe they will do, they'll stymie the run, and it's going to be another field position game for the Packers, putting Jordan Love at their own 40 or the opponent's 40. I think this is a very good opportunity for the Packers to come out strong here and really solidify themselves once again in that NFC North, which I believe they'll win.
Yeah, this will definitely have a game that I'm going to dig into a little bit more throughout the week. And obviously we have the question marks next to Christian Watson and Aaron Jones that we kind of want to see if they're going to, be able to play or give a go this week. So let's move on to 2 teams that had interesting losses last week. We had the Colts -1.5 traveling to Houston to face the Texans. Obviously, the Colts should have covered. For those of you who followed us last week, we took the Colts +5.5. They should have covered. Anthony Richardson got them to 1st and goal on basically the 2-yard line. He gets shaken up. As a precaution, they take Anthony Richardson out and they put Gardner Minshew in there, and he had 3 or 4 plays to get 2 yards. It was Anthony Richardson. I'm sorry, this guy who's 6'5", 250 pounds is going to find a way into the end zone. He was carrying the linebackers on 4th and goal to the 1st down marker. This team should have covered. Now, flipping over to the Texans, I don't know if this was a result of Lamar Jackson being inaccurate on his passes or that defense actually standing on their head. Like, they made the Ravens struggle with field position and moving the ball. Granted, the Ravens did put up some points, but this Texans team, they were never completely out of it. Now, did they feel like they had a grasp on containing this game? No, but they were never so far out of it that it wasn't competitive. They were getting the Ravens to 3rd down consistently. They had a couple miscues on 3rd down and let up a 1st down. They had a couple bad penalties towards the end of the game, but they had 2 chances to cover at the end. The Ravens didn't score the last 2 drives, or they scored a field goal on one of them, but if they scored a touchdown, they were covering that game. They were 10, we got them at 10.5 in the contest. So these are 2 teams that both let us down. Now, I think the best play in this game is the under. I think you have 2 question marks at quarterback and they're going to duel it out. And both these defenses didn't look that bad. But on the flip side, it's telling why the Texans opened up at 1-point favorites and they shot up to 1.5. So I don't really know. Like, this is kind of telling me that you take the Texans here, but this is nothing I'm set on. I definitely want to look into it a little bit more before I kind of, put my head on one side. Did you have anything you like from this game?
Anything that I like? I mean, not really. This is really a flip of a coin. Like, Jared, if you go flip heads or tails for me and whatever it lands on is kind of what you pick. What's intriguing about this is, what people don't understand is, yes, that Texans defense is definitely underrated. I mean, they were piecing that defense together last year without DeMeco Ryans, and with DeMeco Ryans there, a defensive-minded coach, adding on, who was the pick? It's Will Anderson, right? Yes, Will Anderson out of Alabama, playing down the end. I ain't gonna lie to you, Will Anderson's a dog. I mean, if you see even a few of the plays he made in the preseason, where there was one play, I was watching the preseason live, and he demolished the right tackle the first play, caused a fumble, sack, and they got the ball. And I was like, geez, man, like, he has all the potential to be a difference maker. It's just a matter of, like you said, that Texans offense, who knows what's going to come from that? Yeah. And like you said, like, what do we expect from the Colts? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was a pretty decent game. They did a lot of good things. Anthony Richardson definitely put up a good fight and a good game. But like you said, it's a lot of unknowns. And I guess if I ever had to pick, I would actually pick the Colts winning this, honestly, because I believe the Texans will go 0-6 in the division. But like you said, you can't really call it, man. This is not, you can't really put your finger on it. This is one of those toss-ups.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to a game that I actually kind of do have some interest in. This is the Seahawks traveling to Detroit to play the Lions, and the Seahawks are 5.5-point underdogs. Gosh, this number just seems inflated because the Seahawks kind of had a disappointing loss last week to the Rams. The Lions went out and beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs, but the Chiefs didn't have Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes, that offense just did not, there were so many drop passes. It was unreal. Kadarius Toney literally put a bow on the football and handed it to the Lions to lose the game. The Seahawks started off hot to start the game, but they kind of slowed down. And I don't know if that was just a fact of Sean McVay kind of turning the team around and, lighting a fire under their ass. But I hit it on our previews. I am still standing on the hill of Matt Stafford as a top 8 quarterback in the league. He is going to go out there and make the difficult throws. He's going to take hits. He is just a gamer. He's been on bad teams before. This is nothing new. This guy came from Detroit. It's not like he came from a winning organization. He came from Detroit. He is going to play in the rough times. He's going to give it everything he got. He just wants to win. He wants to go out there and perform. This Seahawks team, if we remember them last year, they got going. And once they started going, it was uphill from there. They just could not be stopped a lot of times. We know this Lions team is on a lot of people's radar, but I just think this number is too steep. 5.5. I mean, would you be surprised if the Seahawks win this game?
I would not be surprised. This would actually be one of those, remember how we used to do last year, those round robin money lines?
Oh, yeah, on the dogs, yeah.
Yeah, on the dogs and stuff like that. Yeah, this would definitely be, if we were to do that now, that would be one of my picks right here. It's the Seahawks plus 5.5. What really concerned me about the Seahawks last week was Geno Smith passing for 112 passing yards. But then again, we've seen this on multiple quarterbacks throughout the week. Look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had 86.
Yep.
He had 86. Who else had Desmond Ridder had 118. Who else? I mean, there was a few quarterbacks that were just
several quarterbacks struggled.
Yeah, it's like under 150. I said, God darn, And I try not to look. I really, and looking at that as a kind of like a whole, that doesn't really as a whole concern me about the Seahawks. It was just like, it was like, damn, Geno Smith really threw for 112 yards. I don't expect that repeat performance. These receivers are a whole lot better too. So the Lions better buckle the hell up because these receivers are prime time. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I mean, now these boys get after it. Jackson Smith and Jigba, a draft pick from Ohio State last year. I mean, this past draft. So, like I said, I think the Seahawks kind of, definitely had a huge disappointment, man. A huge disappointment. They're due for a bounce back. And I mean, we get it. We talked about mostly Dan Campbell, that was kind of our motto last year. Mostly Dan Campbell at home. I mean, that offense puts up points, but, I was very encouraged by the Seahawks run defense. I was very, very concerned about that going into the year. They didn't upgrade that D-line. I talked about that in the offseason, but to hold Cam Akers, 24 carries, 23 yards. I mean, it was like damn near 1.7 yards per carry at some point. So I'm very encouraged by that. I feel like the Lions are going to have to, run the ball and to get going because, like I said, that back half of the Seahawks defense, let's not forget, they got dogs back there. They still got dogs back there. And maybe they had a little letdown week from week 1, but let's not expect a repeat performance. This defense is going to show up and show out. I like that. I like that plus 5.5. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, this is just the Lions are basically coming off the biggest win as a franchise, being the defending Super Bowl champions. Just seems like a letdown spot for the Lions. Yeah. So let's move on to the next game. The Chargers heading to Tennessee to face the Titans. The Titans are 3.5 home dogs. I mean, we have to do it, right?
My boy, right? Yeah.
We have to do it, right?
Man.
Like, it's just, you're giving us the hook. I know it's going to be public, but the Chargers just made Tua look like prime Dan Marino. And the Titans, they covered. And the fact of the matter is, Vrabel kicked the field goal when he should have possibly went for it. Now, granted, it almost worked out. They almost got the stop. They had the timeouts. It almost worked out. But in reality, they should have went for it. They kicked the field goal and they cover. But that's what the Titans do as underdogs. They cover. Mike Vrabel covers. And you're giving us 3 in the hook. This is a system play. We don't even really need to say much about this game besides the Chargers defense lets up points and the Titans cover. I mean, am I missing anything?
Yeah. Well, you're not really missing anything. Not at all. Like I said, this Titans team is definitely locked in. They're going to be ready. Like I said, they're tough and gritty. They keep games close anyway. Like I said, it's Mike Vrabel, guys. I mean, come on. We've seen this story before. You got to take it.
Yeah, this should have been a play in our thing. We overthought it last week. We got to stick to our guns. Mike Vrabel as a dog, it pays. So let's move on to a game where I actually have some action in already. We're not getting the best of the line in the contest, spoiler alert, but it's the Ravens plus 3.5 versus the Bengals. Well, actually, I should say Bengals minus 3.5 because that's the side I'm looking at. But this just seems like this is telling to me. You have the Ravens who went out there and won and covered. They won and covered. And you have the Bengals who went out did not cover, they did not win, and they did not score a touchdown. So this is telling from the sportsbook side of, we know the Ravens are going to be, oh my God, they're going to get pounded. The line is going to get pounded. The public is going to be all over the Ravens. But dude, this Bengals line is yelling at me, and I got it at 3. I was lucky to get it at 3 before it moved. But dude, this is sitting at 3.5, and I'm almost still tempted to take it because I just see a bounce back from the Bengals. It doesn't make sense to me. Why is this line at 3? Why is this not a pick 'em? I mean, this doesn't make sense. This is just yelling at me that the Bengals win, the Bengals cover, and they win big. But there is one thing that's worrying me, and it's the stat of Lamar Jackson as an underdog. He covers at like an 82% as an underdog, and he basically wins outright almost every time he's an underdog. It's crazy. And then also I have the stat in the back of my head that the Bengals also started out 0-2 last season. So I mean, am I overthinking this? Am I getting in my head? Like, what do you have going on in this game?
Now, here's what I'm gonna say. First is first. All right, I want you to breathe in, breathe out, and woosah. Okay, let's break this down from
that didn't help.
X's and O's. Let's break this down in an X's and O's traditional perspective. Right. What do we talk about? Right. We talked about, we tried to praise the Texans defense last week. Like I said, they did pretty well. They didn't stink up the joint. But let's not forget, once again, I brought this up earlier, guys. This is a new system, new offensive coordinator, new receivers. Receivers come back off of injuries. Lamar Jackson, a completely new offense. This is, we're starting to get to that point, guys. Like, hey, this is still the beginning. This is the beginning phase of the offense, right? So you can't expect this team to just walk in Who Day Nation. They're walking into Cincinnati. They're walking into Cincinnati against Joe Burrow and them boys, after just sticking up the joint last week against the Browns, after calling them elves. Like, what are we missing here, right? We tend to forget this Bengals defensive line is very underrated. The Bengals defensive line can put pressure. They can stop the run. And with J.K. Dobbins being out for the whole year, who is going to play running back? Why do we have, it's really mind-boggling to me, because like I said, we really like to play the kind of results of week one. We all know week one's a toss-up anyway, guys. Let's not overreact. Week one is always either big ups or big disappointments. We see them every year. So let's calm down. Let's relax. This Bengal team is going to get back on track. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd are going to go out there and attack that banged up Ravens secondary. Did we forget they're banged up back there? Is Marlon Humphrey even back yet? No?
I think he's supposed to come back this week, but it's not guaranteed.
But yeah, it's not guaranteed. So that means he's damaged goods. He's damaged goods out there against against one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't feel as crazy now. So let's move on to a game where this is going to be eating at me all week. So we get back-to-back goodies. Raiders plus 9.5 versus the Bills. Obviously, Bills 9.5 home favorites. Why is this yelling at me? The Bills win 35-17. I mean, 35-14, 35-17. That is what this line is telling me. The Bills are coming out after one of Josh Allen's probably poorest performance as a pro. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions to the same guy. He literally got the guy who intercepted. What was it? Whitehead?
Yeah, Whitehead.
Jordan Whitehead, his incentive. You know what his incentive was for this year, right? To get 3 interceptions. He got that in week 1, $250,000. I mean, maybe Josh Allen on the side, you're like, yo, Josh, throw me 3 times, I'll slide you 50,000. Just kidding. But dude, the Raiders just beat the Broncos. The Raiders just upset the Broncos, and the Bills just went out and stunk up the place first. Aaron Rodgers lists New York Jets. They lost to Zach Wilson. I think oh my God, gosh, I was about to say Brian Daboll. This team misses Brian Daboll, I should say.
They do.
They miss Brian Daboll.
They definitely do.
McDermott has got to get this team back on track. Josh Allen, my God, it hurts me to say this, but he's turning back into a wild card, and I really think this is the game where he has to have a clean game. No turnovers, no fumbles. I mean, you could just see how reckless he was getting. It was like 3rd and long, and he tried to hurdle the 2 defenders to 5 yards short? Like, Josh, come on now. You have a solid defense. You have a good offense. Just trust your team. Don't put them in bad positions. If you have to punt on 4th down, that's okay. With that being said, Bills by 1 million. I love the Bills this week. I really think they put a I really think they put their damn foot down and actually play some good football this week. They're at home. I think Josh Allen has that last game in the back of their head. They know they needed to win that Jets game. They know they need to win. Talk to me. What do you got?
I mean, do I need to say less? I mean, you see who they playing, right?
Oh my God. Right? I totally forgot. We're the Anti-Raiders podcast. Before we go live every time, we have to sit against the corner and say hate words to the Raiders.
Damn right. Well, mainly, I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me not say the organization. Mainly Josh McDaniels, honestly.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, mainly. But yeah, no, I don't. It's screaming at you for a reason because we got to think about it. Everybody's kind of high on it. It's like, the Raiders got the win against the Broncos. Broncos had a good defense. Jimmy Garoppolo actually threw for 200 passing yards and threw for 2 touchdowns and this and that. Listen, guys, Russell Wilson went 27 for 34 for 178 passing yards. That offense did. If you have 24 completions and 178 passing yards, your offense was not moving. It was. I mean, moved here or there, but it hasn't moved enough to point to where you produce. I mean, they scored 16 points. They lost 17-16, and like you said, the defense. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. The defense kind of was a letdown for me. I actually think the defense is going to hold the Raiders to like 10 points, to be honest with you. But like I said, guys, it's week 1. This is all week 1. It's all woo solid. It's all relaxed. I mean, Josh Allen, that is a problem to really worry about. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. Every time he threw the ball downfield, I said, "Oh well, shit, there goes one."
Yeah.
Yep, there goes another. And then I ain't gonna lie to you. I think what really got me really concerned about Josh Allen was after he threw that third pick, the next possession, fumbled the ball on their own side of the field. That was crazy to me. I was like, God damn, this is the fucking Minnesota Vikings all over again.
Yeah.
Literally, he fumbled the bag. He literally fumbled the bag in the end zone last year. He fumbled the bag on his own side of the field this year. So, yeah, that is a little concerning, but let's relax, okay? It's still Josh Allen. He has his weeks, but that's what makes Josh Allen Josh Allen. There's little jump plays you talked about where Josh Allen flipped it. Yeah, that was dumb as shit, but that's Josh Allen. That's what Josh Allen is. You get the good, you get the bad with Josh Allen. I ain't gonna lie to you. They're going to light this defense up.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear.
What? They're going to light this defense up. Gabe Davis had one catch for 26 receiving yards. He's about to drop.
Yeah. And it was I think it was on like the first drive too. That's it.
Yeah, literally. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's the only reason why I hit that prop. I ain't gonna lie to you. that was the only reason I hit that prop. But guys, I mean, who is this Raiders secondary, guys? I mean, let's not forget Russell Wilson did sting up the joint last year, and we were hoping Sean Payton would kind of get it back. We all kind of thought so, but maybe not. Maybe it's not the time right now. That will kind of develop. Nah, this Buffalo team has chemistry. They've been here before. They've done this. They've been in big games. They've thrown the ball all over the goddamn field. They dropped 40. They dropped 30. I mean, shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. When they played Commanders, I said, God damn, we have no fucking chance. I was looking at this like, God darn. But, I say this knocking on wood. Josh Allen ain't going to have three interceptions again.
Unless Charles Woodson comes back and he's lurking in the backfield. I think we're good.
Right. Or they trade for Jordan Whitehead, of course. But,
oh, my God.
Let's like I said, let's relax. This is week 1. We had these games, right? We had these before, right? Let's calm down. Let's relax. They're going to go ahead and make adjustments for week 2. For week 2, I believe that running game is going to get started a little bit more. That defense is definitely going to stymie that Raiders offense a lot more, if you want to be 100% honest. And trust me, Stephon Diggs, if you think he had 1 touchdown let's see what he had this week.
Yeah. So
big prop.
With that being said, the Bills are definitely going to be a consideration for our contest. If you can get them at 8.5 on your normal book, I would definitely recommend playing it.
Yes.
Just get it shy of 9. There's missed field goals and missed extra points. So 9 is still a key number.
And Josh Allen picks.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to, I think this is one that we can actually kind of like free square and we kind of have to play. And that's the Chiefs -2.5 against the Jags. Chiefs coming off a loss. Travis Kelce's expected to play. We all know if Travis Kelce gets ruled in, this number is going to go to 4.5. It's already up to 3.5 on a lot of sports books. So we got it at 2.5 in the contest. We really don't have to touch on this much. Chiefs 2.5. I think we can both agree, right?
Yeah, most certainly. And Chris Jones comes back. So
yeah, exactly. You have to play this. Chiefs under a field goal against the Jags. And I know the Jags look good. Actually, no, I take that back. The Jags didn't look good. Trevor Lawrence looked good and Calvin Ridley looked good. That Jags defense looked shaky and I guess the running game wasn't that bad, but the Colts had an opportunity to put that game away and they didn't. So regardless, we're going to take the Chiefs -2.5. That's our free score of the week. You have to play it. It is what it is. System.
Book it.
Now we're going to move on to a tougher game. And this one is going to be difficult to read just because of where my head is and where reasoning is. The Niners are traveling to the Rams. The Rams are 7.5-point dogs at home. I know we know what the play is. We know what the play is. But can we play it? Can we play it?
I don't like that. That's my thing. Like, it's crazy because it's funny. The way of thinking you had when you first saw that line, I guarantee was the same exact mind. Where it's like, oh yeah, we got that. Then you do a little bit more digging. You do some research. It's like, do we? I mean, shit. This is the play, but man, bro. Man. Go ahead, tell him. We have to take it. We have to take it, right?
It's the Rams plus 7.5.
Yeah, we gotta take it.
They always play each other close. It's
division game.
It's a dogfight. These head coaches, they take this shit personal, regardless of what the spread is. McVay and Shanahan, they take this shit personal. They wear this game on their sleeve. We don't have to say much. I want to say this will probably end up in our contest. I need to dig into it a little bit more because we're not even getting the best number. But I mean, we don't have to say much. The 49ers basically played the first whole half perfect. The Rams stepped up and put their foot on the gas without Cooper Kupp at that. A divisional dog, 7.5 points. You got to take it. I mean, you got to take it. Let's move on to a game where this has a few question marks, but I feel like we could put our finger on it. The Giants, as 5.5-point road dogs, are traveling to Arizona, where Arizona probably played about as good as they're going to play this whole entire season. They were given 7 points by Hal, still didn't cover. But I mean, what are we talking about? You're telling me the Giants don't win this by 10 points?
Come on, dude. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be real. I mean, the Giants. Woo! That was a funny thing to watch this past Sunday night. Boy. But like I said, that's hard not to overreact with that one. Let's not overreact with that, guys. This Giants team fell down early. We know what their offense is. Run the ball, play action, slow, methodical pace, get through the game. And once they got out, basically, I ain't gonna lie to you, once it was like 14-0 and Dak Prescott didn't even touch the field yet, it was like, well, yep, this game's fucking over. I ended up falling asleep, waking up, and I said, well, at least they put up 3 points. And nope, Grant Gano missed 2. So it's like, wow, like that was an off game as a whole.
This was such a snowball effect.
Yeah. And like I said, let's think about it. You said the Arizona Cardinals played probably their best game of the season.
Yeah.
The Commanders played probably their worst game of the season. The Commanders turned the ball over 3 times. It was a Sam Howell interception, a Sam Howell fumble 6, and an Antonio Gibson fumble on the opponent's side of the field. I don't expect this from this Giants team. That Saquon Barkley fumble was bullshit. That won't happen again. I see Daniel Jones having a bounce back performance. Darren Waller's definitely get some touches. I mean, guys, like this is the game. If you want to bet the Giants for a bounce back game right now, this is the game. Play it while you can.
Yeah, this is obviously one of the best teaser pieces this week. You'll get them down to basically a pick 'em. And just a little side note, the Giants are actually my survivor pick this week. So back-to-back weeks, I'm fading the Cardinals. What could go wrong? But yeah, that's enough on that game. I definitely will be considering the Giants minus 5.5 for our contest. Me and Dynell will have to talk a little bit behind the scenes of what we want to do, but that's definitely going to be in the running. This next game, we're not going to really have to touch on much, but it's the Jets plus 9.5 versus the Cowboys. Cowboys at home. I like the under. This under kept opening and closing, and it's already down into the 30s. This is just going to be a defensive matchup. Now, I don't think this Cowboys offense looked all that great, but that's because they really didn't have to. Cooper Rush ended up playing in the first week of the season. But this is just a stay away game for me. I mean, I'm not betting on anything Zach Wilson, and I'm not going to take the Cowboys as basically 10-point favorites. It's not a good number. These defenses are just going to be a snooze fest. I mean, I think we could easily say this is a stay away, right?
Oh, yeah. Of course, bro. I'm glad you learned your lesson from last year, betting them motherfucking Jets last year.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I was year 2. Yo, yeah. I remember that. We was at the Harrington Casino shit, and I saw you bet the Jets. I said, you motherfucker. We talked about this already. And sure enough, they let you down again. Yep.
Never learn, man. Never learn. All right, Dynell, let's move on to the homer. Commanders plus 3.5 going to Denver. I mean, I'm not trying to break your heart, but the Broncos are yelling at me. This isn't going to be let me just say, this is not a contest play. After what I saw from the heartless Broncos team that lost to the Raiders, if you lose to the Raiders, I think you get 1 week probation on this podcast. So we will not be betting on the Broncos. I know you're probably looking at this Commanders team to bounce back, but personally, I'm not going to let us put this in the contest. But do you have any read or book play that you want to give out?
I mean, here's what I will say about that, and I can understand why you say this too. This is going to Mile High in Denver. Like that's a whole different atmosphere as it is in general. You can't struggle in that arena. You can't struggle in Denver. Oh my God, just the fans as it is. The fans, and on top of that, the altitude. Shit. You're gonna have a dog fight there. You know me personally, I like the +3.5. I actually think we're better than that. But like you said, we ain't gonna put this in the contest anyway. I really don't like any props. This is gonna be a slugfest. I've just kind of like being a defensive slugfest. Me saying Sam Howell's gonna go out there and throw for 2 touchdown passes is me wishful thinking. So yeah, we can just move on.
Now, this one is intriguing. We were talking about this earlier. The Dolphins -2.5 traveling to New England. The books actually have moved this number to 3, Patriots +3. So I will be betting that on the book, brief disclosure. But come on now. We know what the play is. You got to fade Tua after the big game. Come on. Like the Patriots had a chance to beat the Eagles at home to start the year and they folded. Gosh. No, I was just going to say, like, this, if there's a side you take, it's got to be the Patriots.
Yeah, most certainly. But what's crazy about it is, I think it's funny how, because it's crazy because, we're also a historic podcast. Jared is he's a history book. He really digs, and he already knows that Tua is 4-0 against the Patriots. But what's crazy about it is, I feel the same exact way. I'm taking the Patriots here.
Like, this line doesn't make sense. After last week's performance, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And trust me, that New England defense ain't no joke. They ain't no joke, bro. They ain't no joke. So
yeah, we saw it first. Now like you said, speed kills, but I mean, are we really about to? We're sending Tua to the tundra.
Ooh, it's cold out there, motherfucker.
Tua's going to the tundra. Now it probably ain't gonna be that cold, but 70-degree weather is probably cold for Tua. He's used to like 100 degrees in humidity.
50 degrees is -10 to him.
Exactly. So I think this is definitely going to be a game we're eyeing. The only reason we might keep this out is because it's not 3. That's the only reason I can see us keeping us out.
Exactly.
So we'll be digging into these other games, but this is definitely going to be a candidate. We'll just have to see how we feel. And it also depends on what games we have in the lineup. So this will definitely be a keep an eye out on it, but I do like it at 3 as a book play. So, there's some value there. If you have +3 on your book, obviously we don't have that in the contest, but if you have +3 in the book, I think this is a pretty solid play.
Slam it.
Yeah. Moving on to the Saints and the Panthers. Panthers hosting the Saints as 3.5 home dogs. The play obviously is you take the home divisional dog, but I just can't do it. The Panthers just looked so rough last week, and even they had Brian Burns, like he was playing, and it just seemed like they weren't really getting to Desmond Ridder as much as I thought they were. But granted, we played the Falcons last week, but 3.5 points. If this was 3, I think I'd lean the Saints. But because we're getting the hook on the Panthers side, it's kind of making me want to stay away. Not too great of a feeling in this one. What are your thoughts?
Nah, same logical and reasoning. If it was 3, yeah, I might bet the Saints. That hook, nah.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like, here's what I will say. The Falcons offense didn't give the Panthers many opportunities to really get back there and get sacks either. And the ball was out quick and they ran the ball efficiently. So it was kind of tough. I mean, Algier had a day. So, it was going to be a rough day. It was going to be a rough day for the Panthers. I mean, that's why we called that when we did that -3.5 on the Falcons last week. So, like I said, that home dog, yeah, that +3.5, yeah. Are we playing it? Ugh. That's one of those, boy, you're a brave soul. Just kind of stay away from it.
Yeah, obviously, Falcons was my favorite play last week. And they came through. But the Panthers, they just look so bad, dude. I think we have to see. Yeah. I think we have to evaluate this team one more time because Derek Carr didn't look it took him 3 quarters to get going. I mean, it was like an old lawnmower. Hey, you keep starting. And okay, we finally got the damn long cut, but gosh, I don't look forward to starting this thing back up next time. Like that's kind of how I feel with him. So I definitely think this is a game that we're gonna have to check out both these teams for another week or so. Let us get more of a feeling. We're not getting a good number, so it's hard. It's kind of hard to take a number here. But let's move over to another game that can be very, very intriguing, and I think this is going to be a little split. So we have the Browns as 2.5 point favorites versus the Steelers. This is like the same thing as last week, in my opinion. The Steelers, literally 2.5 point dogs hosting a divisional opponent. A lot of people should be on the Steelers +2.5 because they're an underdog at home. But I mean, dude, that Browns defense was no freaking joke, man. That's what we were beating that bell until it was dead. Like like Myles Garrett and that defensive line. Like I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't know how they afford this team. This defense has so much money poured into it. They clog up that. They clog up. It feels like almost every single running lane, every play. Joe Mixon he was obviously not getting going at all. They were not converting on third down. Joe Burrow had 80 passing yards. Like, dude, this Browns team, I gave them out to win the division, but that looks a lot better after last week. But talk to me. What do you like in this game?
What do I like? I like both. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like both, to be honest with you. Like, because I see it from a reasoning of the Steelers, right? Yeah, they got smacked. I mean, they got absolutely fucking manhandled. I mean, railed, mauled. I mean, not worse than the Giants, but we get the point. The Steelers, let me put this in perspective for you. How many carries did you think Najee Harris had?
Ooh, I'm gonna say, that's hard. I'm not sure. I feel
see, look, I'm telling you, you had to think of it that way. How many carries did he have last week?
Dude, now that you mentioned it, I don't feel like I watched him have that many carries. Like it felt like he couldn't. Like I'm gonna say Najee Harris had
you know what? Here. It's a betting podcast, so I'm gonna make it fun for you. Over under 10.
Over under 10. I mean, based off what I saw, it's got to be under 10, right?
Yeah, you would slam the under. Okay, so try to guess the exact amount. Win the big money.
God, 7 seems so low, but 7.
6
carries?
He had 6 carries last week, along with 4 carries from
Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, Jaylen Warren, right. The total offensive rushing output had 10 total rushing attempts.
And Kenny Pickett had to have what?
And
1?
Kenny Pickett had probably, yeah, I think he had like 1. Yeah, one of them. And Kenny Pickett threw the ball 42 times.
What?
42 times. You know, like that's you know what's crazy? And I don't think that's why I don't think people see it that way. This is why, like I said, when people are kind of split and people are on the Browns by 2.5, yeah, that was a great win by the Browns. I mean, they absolutely did what they had to do and they held Joe Burrow and all that. But I think what people don't feel to realize is that wasn't, once again, just like how the Giants were in that situation last week, their offense had no shot. Their offense is predicated on the run, starting to get that going, play action pass, and then you got to throw deep, hit those deep routes to Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. Now, here's what I will say. Deontay Johnson's apparently out for a little bit now, and now it all really falls on George Pickens. But at the end of the day, I mean, I can bet on Najee Harris getting more than 6 fucking carries.
Yeah.
I can tell you that now.
They have to.
And with this game being drawn out now, the Browns still haven't fully figured out that offense yet. I think people are really, this is, like I said, I think people are really sleeping on the Steelers plus 2.5. But then again, it's vice versa. Like I said, that's why I like both. Because you're sleeping on the Browns minus 2.5. But boy, I'm letting y'all know right now, this Steelers team can really win outright. Like at home, terrible towel.
Yeah.
You know, like that's you know, that's the tough part about it. You know, so
I'm just not trying to be. I'm not just trying to see part 2 of, like, you know, a repeat of the same movie. You know.
Exactly, and I totally, and I get that perception, but man, like just feeling it from, you know, was this did the team perform to its identity last week? Is this what they were going to do consistently? Not going to happen.
They have to establish the run, but
right.
But the question mark with the Steelers were that offensive line going into this year,
right?
Did they fully address that offensive line? Because we got to remember the Browns are coming into town now. Granted, they're not the 49ers defensive line, but they're not too far off. They're not too far off. So do we get a repeat of just Kenny Pickett having to throw the ball because they can't establish the run? If that's the case, give me the Browns. But can they hold up the Browns long enough to get a few runs in and get some momentum going, maybe get an early lead, force Deshaun Watson to throw the ball? Also,
can that fucking defense play better?
Yeah, because you got to figure Nick Chubb is going to want to, he's going to carry the load. He's got to. If he can't get going, then Deshaun Watson's not going to be able to put that team on his back right now. I didn't see that last week. Nick Chubb had an incredible game. It felt like he was getting 3 or 4 yards of carry every single time. He was doing his job, and that ultimately led them to win. So this might be one we stay away from, but this will definitely be one that we have to dig into. So, I mean, we've got several games that we got to look into more this week. A lot of these lines are like we said, you guys got to bring your shovels this week because we got to dig. We do have to remember that we do have a bye that we have to use sometime this week, but I think it's so early in the contest that we don't want to use it now. So we're going to keep that in our back pocket. We're going to play this week. We have to. There are a few spots that we like, and we got to use, the free square with the Chiefs. If they lose, hopefully everybody in the contest plays it, but it's 2.5. If it was 3, maybe I could see differently, but it's 2.5. We're getting Patrick Mahomes under a field goal.
That key number.
Yeah. So that's the thing with the contest. These key numbers are, for the spots that I liked from the book,
brutal.
They're pretty much an extra half point in the opposite direction off the key number. So we got a few spots we're going to dig into. We'll be right back here with the contest picks. That'll be the next episode that you guys will be looking forward to. If you haven't checked out our Thursday night football episode, make sure to do so. We gave some props on our favorite side. Follow us on Twitter at @ShredTheSpread_. And if you're into TikTok, you can do that as well. It is at @ShredTheSpread. Dynell and I, we're going to go get digging. We've got some work to do. We've got to find some winners. We went 3-2 last week. We are in the top 38% of the contest. So we did, wow. So now, basically 1-4, or no, 2-3, 1-4, and 0-5 would be 60. So we're above 62% of the contest. So we did well. A lot of people last week were on the Bengals, the Giants, the Commanders. And did I say something to you? Did I remember?
Yeah, because you said it was like what percentage of people? I think it was like 30.
Yeah, it was like 30% of them had two of those 3. So yeah, we definitely gained an edge last week. We are looking forward to do so again. I just want our worst weeks to be 3-2. And I know that sounds greedy, but I think we have it in us. I think we dig into this pretty well. And, with a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill and a whole lot of luck, I should say, hopefully we can shoot for at least a worst case scenario 3-2 this week. This is a rough week. But with that being said, me and Dynell are going to get to work. We'll bring you guys some winners on our contest episode released Friday night or Saturday morning whenever we get that opportunity. But until next time, we'll see you.
Peace.